Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Continuing with our discussion on Hazrat Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. Today we will speak about his role and his wisdom at the time of the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right, so the role of Hazrat Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu at the time of the death of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had brought light to the entire world. He was the most beloved person to every single person alive. Their entire lives, their beings, all revolved around Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That we can't even imagine their sorrow and their grief at the time when they heard of the news of the departing of Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This was the darkest day in the city of Medina, and every single person had to deal with their individual pain. Thus, the grief of the Sahaba radiallahu anhu had no bounds. They could not believe this news as the news was spreading everywhere. The Sahaba radiallahu anhu did not understand what they must do. Confusion and despair spread everywhere. And the Sahaba radiallahu anhu did not know who they could look up to as a guide. Giants from among the Sahaba like Umar radiallahu anhu, he was also shocked. He was angry and he thought that the hypocrites were making up lies and that they were spreading rumors. Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu gathered all the Sahaba radiallahu anhu and he spoke to them and he said that the hypocrites are saying that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is dead. I swear by Allah that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has not died, but he has gone to Allah like how Musa alayhi salam had gone to Allah, and he returned after 40 days. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will also return and he will cut the hands and the feet of those people who say that he has died. So this was their grief. They could not fathom, they could not understand. It was something they had never ever imagined, that the person who is the most beloved to them today is no more. Hazrat Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, he proceeds straight to the apartment of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. From this lesson, we're going to see the wisdom of Hazrat Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. So he goes straight to the apartment of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He removes the Yemeni sheet on the Mubarak face of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He kisses the blessed Mubarak face of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he says, with tears streaming down his cheeks, "May the lives of my mother and my father be sacrificed for you. Sacred was your life, and sacred is your death. You have now tasted of the death which Allah has decreed for you, and now you will never die." Hazrat Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu covers the Mubarak face of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he goes out. He sees the people that Umar radiallahu anhu is addressing, and suppressing his own grief at the loss of his most beloved friend, he addresses the people and he tells them that, "O people, verily whosoever worshipped Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, then behold, indeed Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is no more. And whosoever worshipped Allah, behold, Allah is alive and will never die." Look at the powerful words that Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu uses. That if you worship Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is no more. But if you worshipping Allah, then Allah is alive and Allah will never die. Then he reminded them of an ayat that was revealed, a verse from Surah Ali Imran, which says, "And Muhammad is no more than a messenger. Prophets have already passed away before him. If he dies, or if he is killed, will you turn back upon your heels? And whosoever turns back on his heels, he is not harming anyone in the least, and Allah will reward the grateful." When Hazrat Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu recited this verse, it reminded the people and they remembered that a verse like this had been revealed, and it brought the people back to their senses. And he gave the people a sense of understanding that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam was only a messenger who Allah had sent, and now his time was up and he had to go. So Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, in this time of confusion and despair, he led the people in one direction. He guided them, he showed them, and he made them understand that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is also a human being like any other human being, and that now Allah had called him back. So through the words of Hazrat Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, the people came to realize that this was really true and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had indeed passed away. So after the speech that Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu gave the people, now the Sahaba, including Umar radiallahu anhu, they were now finally fully convinced that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had indeed passed away. From this lesson, we can see that Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu was somebody who always made sure that he could guide the people, he could make them understand, he could lead them in one direction. Yet, if you look at it, Hazrat Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu was the most beloved friend of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He suppressed his grief. He went out and he made the people understand. He showed them that, you know what, that this is something which was inevitable. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not going to be forever. And he made them understand from the ayat of the Quran, where Allah mentioned that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is only a messenger, and once he goes, once he leaves us, that does not mean we must also turn away, but rather we should be firm on this deen and we should stick to this deen of Allah. The book that I am using is the Khulafaa-e-Rashideen. Visit www.lma.org.za. So that's our lesson for today on the role of Hazrat Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu at the time of the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And from this lesson, the three main points that we understand is that he, instead of making or assuming things, or instead of thinking this is what happened or that is what happened, he immediately went to the apartment of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam to confirm the news if it was true or not. The other point is that he brought peace and order at a time when the whole entire city of Medina was in confusion. Nobody knew where they must go, who should they look to, who must they look up to. At that time, Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu brought peace and order in the city of Medina. And he led the people all in one direction. He guided them, he spoke to them, and he made them understand that this was the decree of Allah. Inshallah, we will continue with the merits and the virtues of Abu Bakr As-Siddiq radiallahu anhu in our next episode. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.